Hey, everybody. I got to work on a fade out for that intro. It's just like it's just abrupt. So, hey, welcome to the dynamic duo. I am Chopper Fett. You can call me Brett, and as always, to my left, Fletch Dyna. How's it going, buddy?
All right, pretty good, man. How's it going? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dynamic Duo. And as always, the Darth Vader to my Luke Skywalker is Chopper Fett.
All right, I'll give you that one. That's better than me being your Leia, so that's good.
Oh, no, but yeah, you're my daddy, though.
Well, that sounds a little weird too. So, how about we stop with your analogies for a little bit? There we go. But no, I welcome everyone to the live stream here tonight. Looks like we got Ozark HD Riders and Black Phoenix out there. So, hello, gentlemen. I hope you guys are having a good Friday evening. Looks like maybe some people are out and about here tonight, but that's all right. We'll see if they don't stroll in here in the next few minutes. But Fletch, I figured tonight, last week's conversation was kind of good about the modifications, and I kind of wanted to expand a little bit further on it here tonight. So we're going to talk about again modifications, and the main topic is: are we going to do it ourselves, or are we going to pay some yokel to do it for us? Or and then we got some other topics to discuss as well, and we'd like to get you guys in here as well, throughout the show. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll post the link in the side chat, so anyone who ever wants to join in, definitely feel free to do so, and you can run in and do these topics with us, as we kind of get through them. So I'll go ahead and get that posted out there now.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to be talking about anyway, because at the end of the day, whether you have a garage or not, I think it's about the level of confidence that we have in doing stuff, right? I mean, if it's simple bolt-ons, I think all of us can do it, But then again, it depends on the level of experience that you have, or anybody has, that willing to do anything more than that, right? Whether it's an engine, whether it's an oil change, whether it's going through the brakes and stuff like that. Because as far as I know, when it comes to brakes, they have a machine that they hook up to be able to tell you, the viscosity of stuff and whether it's air bubbles, and then of course read the error messages that you have to be able to troubleshoot. So I think that's a good thing to have, right? For going to a dealership, or at least someone who's equipped to check out stuff anyway.
Yeah, for sure. We'll kind of get into all that as well, because I know I've only really taken mine in for service once since I've owned it in the 3 or 4 years where I actually wasn't comfortable doing something, kind of like you were talking about, letting the pros kind of handle it type of thing. And there have been things that I've done that I should have let them did.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I mean, you're talking about brakes. I mean, I got a set of brake pads. It's been chilling in my garage for about 6 months now. It's just because I haven't had time to do brakes, and you'd think I would want to get my brakes done, but whatever. But yeah, man, let's kind of jump into it, and let's start with the pros, at least as far as doing your own sort of maintenance on the bike or your own modifications. I guess we're talking more modifications than maintenance. So, for me, I like to get my hands dirty personally, but also I have the facilities to allow me to do so. So if I go downstairs and I start wrenching on the bike, and I get to the point where I'm like, oh crap, I bit off more than I could chew. This is going to take me a few days. I'm okay. I can leave my mess down there, park my car outside for the few days, and nothing's going to change. Cases like you, on the other hand, where one, your bike might be your only mode of transportation. You can't afford to have that done. And then two, your country or your ordinances don't allow you to work on bikes without a garage, correct?
That's correct. I mean, so they will allow you to do certain things depending on the ordinances of your apartment building. and the area surrounding, because the way it works here is that you know, even though the car park's yours, they would still think that it's still public property and stuff. So you're not supposed to get it dirty and everything else. So if you're doing if you're not doing an oil change, you're doing stuff like that, anything else that doesn't get the place dirty, then you're probably good to go. Nobody's going to stop you. They're going to leave you alone and stuff like that. You know, I think the pros you hit on the head last week. You know, when we talked about the sense of self-satisfaction, so to speak. You know, the sense of achievement that you get from, you know, you buy this thing, you take it out of the box, you're all excited, then you hook it on and you bolt it on. It feels so good that you did it yourself, you know. And you can tell your friend, hey, you know, I did this. Right?
Oh yeah, completely, man. Because there's something that, you know, you bolt on that exhaust, you know, change like I did. I did the whole back end, so I went from a full fender to a chopped fender, which everyone would say I was crazy for doing that because no one wants a chopped fender. I do.
No,
you have a chopped.
Yeah.
You have a chopped fender, but you didn't have. You know, it kind of came with the territory, but you know, it's. I kind of like, that's just my style of look. I wanted that look, and so, you know, I was able to gather all the parts I needed to do, and over about a 2-day span, I got it all switched over. And you know, and when it was all said and done, it's like the lights work, the brake lights work. I didn't screw anything up completely badly. This is great. And then you go out and ride it, and it's like, I did that. That's me right there. So, but yeah, man, I mean, so you have that sense of achievement, and the next thing would, you know, pro for me is the cost. I'm not sure what labor charges are there, but I know at a few of our local dealerships here, you're looking at 100, 120 per hour just for the labor, and then they're going to, you know, buy their Harley Davidson nuts and bolts and rack up the price even more so that way. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's just, I hate shelling out money, especially because I'm on a budget most of the time for things that I know I can do myself. But again, there's a time and place for every instance I owe.
You know, it's a good thing that you brought that up, because it was only last week that I discovered there was a problem with my brake switch, right? So I had to take it in, because I knew that it wasn't just simply like Japanese bikes, for instance. A brake switch is not really attached to the brake cylinder and everything else, you know. So I knew I had to take it in. I had to bite the bullet, so to speak, and get them to do it, you know. And it was crazy. The cost I knew of the brake switch was like $50 or something, right? Because they had to change the whole assembly. Fine, $50.
Okay.
You know, but then they turned around and said, oh, you know, because we had to take out the brake assembly and the cylinder and everything else, they had to drain the bloody brake oil. So then I had to pay for brake oil. Then I had to pay for the labor that to put everything back in again and test everything else. It was $250 to almost $300 just for that piece of shit. I was like thinking, you know, guys, if I had the stuff to be able to do it, I'll do it myself, you know, and just buy it apart from you and stuff like that. So that's why I'm pretty happy if my battery craps out, I'll just go into any store, buy the battery. Just all you need is a screwdriver. Just take it out and you're done, right?
Right.
I don't have to pay the Harley tax.
Yeah. So was it your rear brake? That was the rear brake switch. That was the issue. You put on.
Yeah, it's rear brake.
So
hang on.
So you put
front brakes.
It was your front brake switch.
These are front brakes. Yeah.
So the one that was actually up in the hand controls.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Okay. Because the one that's out for me is my rear brake. You know, when you hit the foot pedal, it's not illuminating anything. So I've YouTube mechanicked it, you know. So I'm hoping. I ordered the part last Monday, I think it was, or last Friday. Still hasn't come in yet.
Okay.
But I think I'll be able to do it in the garage. If I have a helper, I know I'll be able to, because essentially what if you can just have someone put pressure on the rear brake pedal as you're doing it, that will eliminate the air that could get inside as long as they keep their foot depressed. And then when you're getting everything in and out, you're going to lose just a few drops of fluid if you're quick, which I ordered washers for each side. So it's literally going to be a take out, put in, and reseal it basically. So that's why I'm hoping if it ends up I have to drain the brakes, more YouTube because haven't had to drain the brake fluid out of any of the cables yet. So that'd be fun. A couple more people joined us. We got Mr. G 1965 hanging out over there. We got Ty from Tennessee. See, I think we already mentioned Black Phoenix, but his friend and our friend of the channel, Miss Moto Teaches, sitting out there as well. We got Throttle Back Rubber Down, Jarvis Biker. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Welcome, man.
And the of course, if you're out there. Oh, go ahead.
Right,
sorry,
and no worries, man. If you just joined us, the topic for today is again about modifications. We're taking it another step forward, and we're going to be talking about the pros and cons and various other topics related to doing it yourself, or would you go ahead and just like me, send it to the dealership or some other workshop to get it done. But I think in the case of brakes, probably something that we have to be a little bit careful about. Maybe I'm not sure about the 09s, whether it's really linked to the ECU or not. But I think it was 2011 onwards that, if anything that you do is linked to the ECU, they still need to hook up a computer to reset everything else. Otherwise, things may not work.
Do you have ABS?
Yes.
No ABS, so that's why. Mine's very old schooly. So it's literally like, if you're changing out the brake pads, you don't have to worry about that reset. But yeah, if you have ABS,
the more electronics you have, the more you're basically, screwed, right? And you need to be able to get stuff done, right?
Right. And we've talked about that in the past. Like, it seems like the more they add, it's the more you bring your bike in, because guess what? Only a certified live wire technician can work on it here at Harley Davidson. No one else is going to know how to work on your bike. I mean,
no, exactly.
I mean, you can probably take your Dyna to, or your Softails to an independent shop, but they might not have all the knowledge that they need. Well, hopefully they do, because I like independents a lot, but I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have many of those anyway here. So we got a few. They're just starting up and everything else. But I think when it comes to motorcycles, the Harley Davidsons anyway, although I can speak for some Japanese bikes, and the Japanese bikes are really easy to do. I think of the entire range of Harley Davidson motorcycles, the Sportster is probably one of the few that is the easiest. It's really a very basic bike. Right?
Sure.
Hardly any electronics. You don't put ABS on the goddamn Sportster anyway.
You don't need to.
I remember you don't need to, exactly right. But I know the last 2011 Sportster that I had ABS, but what I did was I disabled it because it was just interfering the way it rides anyway, right? You can't really do very much with it. So at the end of the day, that was easy. I could do most of everything on the Sportster. I'm a little bit wary to do it on my 2016 Street Bike, because of the more electronics and everything else, right? Some things I would, but some things I wouldn't do it myself.
I mean, the Sportster, like you said, it's as bare bones as it gets. It has a computer in it, but that computer basically controls your speedo or something along those lines. It's not really anything that's mechanical on the bike is tied to it. I mean, even my wife's 06 was carbureted, so there's even less electronic and more just manual going on there. So there's definitely those advantages for myself. And Fletch, I think what we could do is kind of, as the show goes on, we'll kind of go through our agenda, and as people join in with us, we can kind of hit back on some other points as well. Unless you have any more pros that you want to talk about as far as doing things yourself anyway.
Well, I think again, ultimately we always say, and I sometimes like to say it, that oh, the dealership should know better, and blah blah blah. But it's economics, right, and life. There's turnover, and mechanics need to be, the tech guys need to be retrained and everything else, and then you suddenly pull in and there's a newbie on your bike, and the guy spends more time looking through manuals and stuff to get it done, and they still charge you for it, son of a bitch, right? And then the cons start to come in, right? And you think, okay, I'd rather, or it could be a pro as well, in the fact that, okay, it's a matter of trust. I trust myself. I don't trust that guy. So, okay, thanks very much. I'm gonna take my shit home, right? There's still YouTube and everything else, and I've done some wrenching myself before, right? So I kind of know what to do. I'll do it, unless it's something super major, or it concerns the ECU or the EFI, then okay, fine. Then I have no choice but to cross fingers and hope that they know what the hell they're doing, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that kind of goes right into the cons there, because if you're having to take the bike into the dealership, guess what? Bike's not in your possession anymore. It's kind of up to their schedule for when your bike gets done. So you could bring your bike up there on a Friday. It might be a week before they're even able to assess the problem. And then once they assess the problem, oh, that's a part that's out of stock. Like, well, Jesus, I told you what the part was that's the issue. It's the fuel pump. I told you what it is. Yeah, but we had to diagnose it ourselves and charge an extra hour and a half of labor. Like, son of a bitch.
So. Exactly. Damn it. It's like, I mean, to me, it's for those of us who've wrenched, we know basically what the issue is, right? And I always make it a point. First of all, we have to make an appointment anyway, unless it's a super emergency and the bike's off road, right? It's down, completely down. If you still can ride it, then it's still fine. So what I always do is give a call, put up an appointment or something, and then tell them, I give them a call and say, hey, look, dude, this is the problem. I know this is the problem. Do you have the part for it? Get back to me. I'm not going to roll in there and you tell me that I'm going to have to have it sit there for 2 weeks. In fact, the funny thing was that when I went in there, I met a couple of guys who had been waiting for a couple of weeks for parts for his Fat Bob. No, sorry, it's for his Fat Boy, right? And it was not like a 10-year-old Fat Boy. It's a brand new one. It's like 2019 or something. And Jesus, he said he had it in for 2 weeks. They still don't know what's wrong with it. But I mean, he fully admitted that he's never wrenched before, so he's not really too sure.
Sure.
This is his first big bike that he's ever had. So yeah, so he's at the mercy of these guys. But for me, is that when he told me the problem and I realized that, it's not that bad. This actually is the issue. Then I went in and together with a guy and said, look, this is the problem. I don't know what the hell you guys doing, because I had the same problem before. You need to do this, right? The guy goes, oh yeah, right. Then finally, when I picked up my bike from just changing the brake switch, he finally picked his bike up, because then they, after 2 weeks, found out what the problem was. It wasn't that big a deal.
Jeez. Yeah, and your friend, you said it was a 2019. Yeah. He's at the mercy of the dealership, because if he was to probably start jacking around, oh, your warranty's voided now.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're literally at their mercy, even if it's a very simple fix. And we'll get into the Milwaukee 8s and some of these newer things in a little bit when we start talking about displacement. But yeah. But it's, I don't know. It's just, there's something about the dealer that I just don't always trust. Now, to get wrong, my local dealer is good, and the one time that they have serviced my bike, I ended up paying in about $600 more than I expected to. Part of it was my fault. Again, I admit my own errors, but it's just I don't know. And Ozark and Jarvis both brought up a good point here. So the first one is from Ozark, if I can find it again. But basically, he was saying that if your bike's over 10 years old, so my 2009 Dyna, the last time I had it worked on was probably 2 years ago, so it was within that 10-year range. I don't know what would happen if I take my 09 Dyna up there now to have it worked on, if they'll even work on it. I mean, it's the same tech that was in there for up to 2017 when it was discontinued, but if they stick to their 10-year rule, do I get denied when I go up there?
But here's the thing, right? Why deny you? I mean, it's you're going to a dealership and not some guy off the streets, that's going to pimp your ride or something. You're going to the dealership. This is a Harley Davidson, whether you bought it from them or from Craigslist or eBay or what have you, right? It's still a Harley Davidson.
Sure.
And to me, to say that, I'm not going to work on it because it's more than 10 years old. I mean, come on, guys. Last week we were talking about Harley's promise, right? And the other promise that they have, I don't know whether it's inherent or not, or obvious or not, but was the fact that they will always have parts for your bike, right? They have, we got a huge P&A catalog, we've got thousands of parts,
right.
If you own a Harley Davidson, no matter how old it is, we can get it for you. And they can't say it's been discontinued because, sure, it's about fitment for certain things, right? But But a 96, a 103 is a 96 and a 103. If they pulled in with an old pan head, okay, that starts to be a little bit iffy. Right?
Sure.
Because then you're really talking about parts, because that engine has been discontinued for some time. But then again, you can go to an SNS or what have you to get it done. But then, that starts to be iffy again. But I'm sorry, a 96, a 103, to me, you should have the parts for it. It's the generic. No matter what Harley Davidson that you own, a 96 is a 96, right? Hey, what's up, man? Right.
And so you could even go back a step further to the 88. I mean, you could go back. I mean,
that's right.
Twin cam, twin cam. Blah, blah, blah. That's a tongue twister. 88, 96, 103, 110. Those four motors there. Should all be serviceable, for the next foreseeable future. But who knows if that's going to be the case or not. But like Jarvis was saying, though, also earlier, that due to the C word that we won't mention, because who knows what YouTube will do to me if I say that out loud. But some dealers weren't open in the beginning, and then I was saying it's a 5-week wait. So you have to either order the parts online and do it yourself. So...
Oh man, but here's the thing, which we went back to, I think 3 weeks ago. We're talking about that. They have their online shop, right? But you try and go in there and order it online. If you're not in the county or what have you, and your favorite Harley Davidson is in the next, I don't know how far it is away, and you don't fall within that county, they'll say, no, sorry, you got to look for your local dealer. And you can't order it online. So that's bullshit, right? So that means you're stuck ordering online on this Harley Davidson to have it shipped to this Harley Davidson to get it done, right? And I think that's just BS, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, my brake switch. I mean, the guy said, it looks like at the dealership up north, they got them in stock. We don't. So I was like, okay, so can you get them from them? Oh, no, we don't share parts like that. I'm like, really? It's like, no. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm at your mercy to order this part then, because what else am I going to do? So
I don't. Oh shit! I don't understand this. I mean, they should take a page out from Apple or from Puma or Adidas or those other guys, because I remember once going to an Apple store because I just saw something that I really wanted to get. Then the guy goes, "Oh, we don't have any stock, but hang on, I'm going to check the other stores. If you don't mind waiting, I get someone to bring it over here." Fine, right? And okay, Singapore's small, fine. You're talking about 45 minutes away from the other store or something. The guy just hops on his scooter and gets it to me, right? In your case, it's 300 miles. But hey, shit, you can still wait for the next day or the next 2 days. You don't mind waiting 2 days to get it from the other store, right?
Right.
So I don't see why not. They're all okay. I understand. The Harley Davidson dealerships are franchises, right? It's not wholly owned by Harley Davidson. It's managed by Harley Davidson as a franchise, but it's owned by somebody else. But hey, parts are parts, man. But at least I know our dealership here has a working relationship with the across the border with the other dealerships over there. So they know if they don't have a part here or they don't have the bike here, sometimes they know that this guy is really wants this model. So what they do is they make some kind of internal arrangements and they talk to HQ and they ship that bike from that place over here, and then the guy gets his bike. Right. So I don't see why they can't do that. But funny thing is in that, but then it goes into stock, right? Which we were talking about as well. At the end of the day, is that you have, for whatever reason, this is not a problem in the States. This is a problem of any dealership outside of the United States, that they never keep stock. Certain parts, for sure you have to wait for them to bring it in.
Yeah,
which I think is dumb.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot. I know we're getting a little off track here, but like my local, not my closest Harley dealership, but we have 4 dealerships in the metro area here, and the one that's been around probably one of the longest it was Gale's Harley Davidson was the name of it, and so it was owned by Gale, of course. With the reduction in bikes that Harley said they're going to be producing next year, she has basically disenfranchised it from being a Harley Davidson dealership, and it's now a power sports dealership. So she's not going to be selling brand new Harley Davidsons anymore. She's going to be selling brand new Indians, Triumphs, anything that she can get her hands on, because she said Harley's not going to be able to keep up with the demand of a new motorcycle, which if that kind of scares me, because I don't feel like their sales are flying off the shelf anyway. But if they're actually going to produce that few less bikes that they can't even keep a showroom full, then I'm scared for what parts are going to be like.
Yeah, that's true. We unfortunately don't. Well, although I know when I was there at the showroom, I was waiting for my shit to be done. I was talking to the sales guys and everything else. Of course, they're moaning that because of the C word and what we're in now is sales are pretty tough. People are a bit more hesitant to buy. Maybe not because they can't afford it or whatever. There is still financing and everything else, but it's more about I get the bike and I can't really ride it anywhere but around Singapore. Damn it, So people are not. But I still see bikes flying off the showroom. The difference between maybe United States is that I think Harley Davidson as a brand is sought after by people who know what the hell they want, right?
Sure.
But here in Asia, it's a luxury good, right? And to them, that has the added appeal. So they end up, after a while, seeing everybody else looking so cool in like the Wild Hogs and their leathers and shit, their chaps and their ass sticking out. That is so wonderful to ride on a Harley Davidson, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, all the people I talk to who don't really know anything about Harley Davidson, and especially the chicks, right? They say, "Oh, you have a Harley Davidson. I love the sound of the Harley Davidson and all that." Little do they know that we have to do a hell of a lot with the new bikes to be able to sound like the old Harley Davidsons anyway. But we're off topic. And going back to what we were saying.
One more quick point on that, and then we got Black Phoenix is going to join us here momentarily as well.
Awesome.
The other reason she's getting out of her franchise is supposedly Harley Davidson is going to be catering more to the upper income American buyer. So I don't know what that means, but it's like they're trying to become the Corvettes, the $80,000, $90,000 cars here that people buy. They're trying to become that brand. So their big, $30,000 bikes is what they're trying to. Like, man, no. If that's what the CEO is actually going to do, then whatever. But hey, anyway, let's add Black Phoenix. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up?
I made it. What's going on, guys?
Pretty
Okay.
good, man.
So
Nice.
you've been here the whole time. You've heard us rag on Harley Davidson pretty badly. What's it like in the Can-Am world?
Dealerships are pretty sparse for that.
Yeah.
We've got one in the state and maybe 2 or 3 official dealerships in New England. So it's really so if you actually have to take it to a dealership, your options are pretty limited.
Gotcha. So
And,
now a lot of the work that you've done on yours, has it been stuff that you've done yourself, or do you take it to the dealer?
no, mine hasn't seen the dealer since I bought it.
Nice.
So I've done everything except for the custom wrap and the power commander install, because that was just a beast on that Spider. So they're all it's a techie bike anyways, with all the electronics and everything on it. So I gave it to somebody else. I'm like, you guys can mess with that.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to bring up a photo here momentarily of your bike so people can see what we're talking about. The wrap and the glow.
Yeah, the lights I've done.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah.
So you did the light install yourself?
Yep.
Yeah. It's probably just hooking it up to the battery and you have a remote?
Yeah, I got the remote on. And that's most of my issues has been battery issues, because wiring, trying to figure out where there's draws and things like that. And I finally got it all set. But you'd go out one morning, try to start it. It's like, it's dead.
Oh my God. That's tough, man. But I think since we're on this topic, what's a pro for you to be able to do stuff yourself?
Time, mostly. Because I know in my local Spider group, a lot of them use the dealer for just stuff like oil change and stuff like that. The bike will be down for like a week and a half.
Oh my God.
For something as simple as an oil change.
Wow.
Where I can get it done in maybe like a few hours.
As it should be.
On my own, yeah.
And what else besides time, though? Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That was a great photo shoot that she did, man.
Oh, she is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I just looking at this shot, and I know this is not what we're talking about with modifications, but I have a photography interest, I guess you could say. And just seeing the motion of the cars in the background with the light blur, she did an awesome job. So I don't know if was that like something that it was like arranged, or something that you guys wanted to both do, or how'd that situation arise?
Something I've been wanting to do for a while since I got the bike set to how I wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then I always wanted to reach out to Icon anyways and be like, do you guys want to do something with me? But I didn't have anything to send them.
You needed some glamour shots.
I needed some glamour shots to send them. My little cell phone isn't going to be enough.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
But
that was a good idea.
I've known Jessica for a while, and I know she's got her own photography business. So I just poked her. I said, "Hey, is this something you would want to do?"
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Sure." It's out of her normal realm, but she said, "Sure."
Yep.
Yeah, she did a good job.
And sometimes getting someone who maybe normally takes wedding photos or something different, it gets like a different perspective, because I know most of the motorcycle shots I see of a Dyna or a regular motorcycle, they're always the same shot. But then you get someone else who has that different kind of eye, or different, not landscape, but I mean, just like a fresh approach, I guess you could say, to what we kind of shoot. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, all right, back. I'm bad about getting off topic. Sorry, guys.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, so we were talking about modifications, right? So you mentioned time. What else?
Definitely money, because Spider stuff, parts and labor is definitely expensive. Like I did the oil change myself, and a lot of that time was just taking panels off, just so I can get to where the filters are and things like that. And that's labor that a dealer would charge you to do that.
Yeah, I know. It's about time, right? In that case, I think when it comes down to those bikes that have fairings, I think that's what is really going to take a lot of time. I remember when I had my Busa, I spent half an hour to 45 minutes just taking off the side fairings and everything else, and then poking around to see where should I start first. Then that's why it's 2 hours or 3 hours, whereas a regular bike you should take 45 minutes and you're done. Right. That's just yeah, exactly. But then what would be a con for you to not do any modifications to your bike? or anything maintenance?
It would just be it depends on how far I wanted to get into it, because there's a lot to the spiders. It's a lot of computerized electronics and systems and stuff like that. Once you start getting into that, I'm going to hand it off to somebody else, because it just you don't, because you could easily mess something up and totally, incapacitate the bike.
Yeah.
No, especially
for sure.
I have the automatic, so it's a semi-automatic wet clutch. Anything transmission related, I'm taking to the dealer. I don't even want to. I don't want to mess with that at all.
So you're saying it's semi-automatic?
Go ahead.
Sorry, you're saying it's semi-automatic?
Yeah, you have to upshift. You don't actually have to downshift if you don't want to. Once it reaches a certain, like if I'm rolling up to a stop sign, all I have to do is hit the brake. It'll downshift for me all the way down to first.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
awesome. Right now, what's the displacement on your Spider?
It's 1,000 cc on that one.
1,000 cc. Does anybody? Sorry, continue, please.
I was going to say the newer ones from 2014 up are 1330s.
Okay.
They're actually 3-cylinder 1330s, which are pretty good. Although it's funny, with my power commander, I'm about at the same power that they are stock. So
nice.
That's cool, man.
What's up? Bob is asking on the Spider, do you need to have it on the lift to do the oil change?
Just the front end, just the 2 front tires, and I can reach everything.
So it's kind of like a car front end. You just got to jack up the front end to reach it, huh?
Yep. Cool. Yeah, the first time I did 2 car ramps, I just drove it right up there. Then I figured out all I have to do is jack up the 1 tire where the filters and everything are, and I can do it from there.
Sweet.
Awesome.
All right.
I think the question I was going to ask was okay. The reason why I asked about the displacement is it normal for Spider owners to try and up the displacement a little bit?
No, not really. I'm the rare breed of Spider rider who's more into the performance aspect than just the cruising aspect of it. And I don't have a lot of people to talk to on the forums and groups and stuff like that, because no one wants to, go down that road with the Spiders.
So those 20 Spiders that you had riding with you the other day, you're the only one who wants to go faster, huh?
Right. There's the one guy leading, Rick. He's got a nice F3 that's got the 1330 motor in it. Yeah, he's me and him. We go, toe to toe there. He's pretty good.
All right.
But most of them are just cruising around.
Awesome.
All right.
Hey, Ms. Teach, how's it going?
Hello.
That's a loaded question. A loaded question right there. It's going this good.
Oh, okay.
I feel like Miss Moto Teach, according to some things that we've been reading over there in side chat, is really going to want to learn how to work on her own bike here in the next little bit before she goes to the land of the rich. So
the homeland, the motherland. I'm going back to where my Nana came from.
Nice.
Yeah. No. But yeah. No. I mentioned to Chopper. I was like, yeah. I don't mind popping on. I can't really talk too much about it, although I watched my husband do his own do-it-yourself stuff, and it didn't turn out so great. Which now has led to, can I take your bike to work today? And I'm letting him because I need to get to a certain mileage, because I was one of those when I got my Harley. I understand my strengths and weaknesses, so I don't care if I paid a little extra for that service plan.
Right.
So when it hits 5,000, because I'm getting close to that, I want to hit that before we go, because when we pack it up to go to Italy, we have to. They're going to box them up and ship them, but we have to drain all of the fluid out of it.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Because you can't have, it's being shipped, and you don't want things blowing up. So
combustibles, yeah.
Oh yeah, but
I know Itchy Boots has to go through the same thing every time she goes on a major trip. I think on her last one when she went through South America, she had to drain everything out. Then she had to find a dealership who could add it all back in for her. So
I know.
Exactly.
I looked it up actually. Finally, like last Sunday, I finally looked up like where we're going because it's been what? I think it's been 6 weeks. 6 weeks since school started, and I have no life anymore, which is why I haven't been on. Like truly no life. Like there's like regular going back to school, and then there's this going back to school.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to see. I'm just happy to see faces on screen because normally all I see is names, and the occasional somebody unmutes themselves and plays a song that's not exactly 7th grade appropriate.
I saw a little thing from JP 1970. He's a teacher as well, and he did a screenshot of all his kids online, right? Yeah. And he's the only one in the center. Everybody's blacked out and muted, and everybody's camera is off, right? So that's crazy.
Oh yeah, but
that's crazy.
But yeah, but I actually looked, and there's a Harley dealership like not even 5 miles away from where we're gonna be. So I'm like, awesome. Woo! But awesome. With the do-it-yourself, so my husband switched out his grenade ring on his Sportster. I don't know what it is. He told me about it once, but it was late at night.
Grenade. That's the distributor cap or the distributor over there on the left. Okay. I don't know.
Wait, I wish I could take you to show you because his bike is here. No, it was in his like gear shift. It was like this one little ring. Like he had to take all his gears out, whatnot. I don't.
Part of maybe he's just messing with you.
Well, it's because what really happened was I had to go in for a part, and he couldn't feel left out, so he had to go in and get a part himself.
Are you sure he didn't grenade his transmission and he had to rebuild it?
Exactly. I was just thinking that.
Well, I mean, it runs, so it just leaks because he didn't seal it back properly. And I'm like, is it supposed to do that? And he goes, no. And
apparently it's supposed to leak.
I know it's a 2013, and just he did that. He got a new speedometer that has the LEDs in there, so he can like do colorful things and whatnot. And then, but yeah, so and it's one of those things where I'm like, you sure do you want to do this? I know you work on jets, but you know this is like different, right? He's like, I could do this. And then, why is it leaking? I don't know.
What about you, Mr. Jarvis? Do you prefer to do it yourself, or you take it somewhere else?
I do all my maintenance myself. I think if I had like a major engine like down in the bottom, I would probably pay somebody to do it. But I do my own brakes. I have for years, both on the Goldwing and on the Concours. Now the Concours got traction control and ABS brakes, so it's got all the modern stuff on it, and I have no problem doing that. I've been working with the tools all my life, so I don't have any problem. I don't get scared. I just read up and get the manual out and see how they do it. And
there you go.
The number one thing when you're doing repairs yourself is that you do have the proper tool. If you have to go borrow it, beg it, steal it, whatever you got to do to get it there. And I ran into that with my Goldwing. I didn't have the, I wanted to change the steering head bearings, put tapers in, because they got bearings like you'd have in your bicycle when you were a kid, and those big Goldwings. And they're always rattling. You go over railroad tracks or something, it's just rattling. You couldn't keep them tight. So, but for the nut on the top, I actually made a tool to do that. Wow. I work in a machine shop, so
nice.
Was able to fabricate something up to make it work, and got the job done. But I do all my suspension, front forks. I tore them completely apart. New seals, bushings.
Nice.
Did all the fluid. Check to make sure previous owners hadn't done any Goldwing fixes. Some of the guys they doctor the anti-dive system. They'll grind the end of the pin off so that it doesn't work anymore. So I pulled it all apart and made sure everything was okay in there while I had it apart. So yeah, when the C thing happened, I needed a new tire. I needed a new front tire, so I ordered it. Now we've got Fort 9 now. They're in Montreal, so the next province over. And shipping's about, I mean, for a front tire, you're looking at probably 4 days for it to get here. Prices, you know, it's pretty good. And but I couldn't get anybody to change it. All the dealers said, no, we're closed. We're not looking after anybody right now. And like I needed it because I was going on a trip and I needed it. So I went to the Canadian Tire, like the tire store for cars, kind of like going to the Walmart automotive department for the States. But I went in there and I begged them just to break the bead for me. And then I used the irons and pulled them off, which I used to do back in the old days. So I had all the tools to do that, except I couldn't break the bead. It was just on there so hard. Those Goldwing tires are pretty tough. So
yeah, here's a question though, Jarvis. Since you've been doing everything yourself, basically, do you have a problem getting the service manual?
No, I have. I bought the Climber one, not the original Honda one.
Right.
And it's also got the update for the newer Goldwings in it. So if I happen to upgrade to a newer one later on, it's got the CD in it with all the new stuff on it, all the wiring and everything. So it's pretty in depth. Those Climber ones, I've used those before. I had an old 900, 74 Z1, and I rebuilt it. I tore it right down to nothing and changed second gear because it kept blowing second gear all the time. Put a new gear in. Checked everything, put a big bore kit in it, put it all back together, and
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So speaking of having the right tool, I'm not sure Goldwings, Spiders, if they all do it, but Harley is notorious about putting those damn like C-clip little spring-loaded things in like you have to basically have a like C-clamp pliers to like open up. They have like 2 little holes and you have to stretch it open.
Yeah.
Oh,
they are the bane of my existence.
Okay, so Loctite and Stanley and Crown back in the day, they all sell kits.
Oh, and I got
all the whole. You can get the whole set to get them.
I got the kit, and I've gotten to the point where I'm better at it now. But I'm about to do some levers on my up on my grips, and I kid you not, they are super, super tiny. Yeah. And I have a feeling I better just go order some new ones.
I need a kit.
Well, just make sure that the tools that you buy are quality ones as well.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you can get the Chinese version of that, and they'll last like for you get it half out, and the thing's all munged up on the end, and it won't work anymore. You got to watch too, because like those things fly. They'll fly and take your eye out. Those things, they're nasty little things. So and there's a couple of other things on the Harley that I remember. I got a buddy that actually works on them, so I hear little things over the years. But there was like a bearing. There's a bearing down in the transmission that has like it's an odd thing, and nobody seems to be able to. Like if I needed something for a Goldwing, I'd go to the bearing supply guy and I'd go measure it up and give me what I need, right? And we'd be able to figure out what it was because somebody makes it, right? So, but Harley, I don't know. They've got the people sworn to secrecy that you can't find that anywhere but with them. They've got exclusive delivery rights for that part, but I know that he said that's the only thing you got to buy from Harley direct is that. So.
I think it's probably something that they did it by design, because I know there are a lot of stuff that's on a Harley Davidson that is not standard. Right? They started to move away, but I think the older bikes are worse because you really have a lot of nuts and bolts that are not the standard nuts and bolts, and you have to order it from them, or you really have to search really hard and do it, right? And I think, which bugs me, because it's not like something in the transmission or something in the engine. It could be even the same simple thing as the exhaust clamp. That stupid nut and screw is not a standard one, right? So because I know mine keeps rusting, so I want to buy a titanium one. And to this day, nobody could give me the size of what it is, right? And for me to order out a titanium screw so that it won't rust, god damn it.
I'm very scared because I have one of my 4 that are attached to the exhaust that's rusted. It's the front one, so it's the one that gets like all the rain, it gets all the contaminant, and I know at one point it's going to do something where it's either going to strip or it's going to just rip off that whole stud as a whole, and then I'm going to be like, here we go again. So
it's not a Harley Davidson.
Right in the rain.
It's exactly right. We're always supposed to be all weather.
That's the fun part, though, riding in the rain.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
Exactly.
Well,
But
I don't
this
know about you guys.
They do say that it rains around a gold wing, not on it. So
nice.
You might want to invest in one because we just outrun the rain. We don't drive through it.
I'm thinking about it because here's the thing: it's not a Harley Davidson if it doesn't leak and you don't lose an exhaust.
No, but they're a beautiful bike. I mean,
I know they are.
Things haven't happened on mine yet. So
if you looked at my video where we did the northern ride and there was 5 Harleys and a Kawasaki Vulcan and me, like those Harleys are beautiful bikes, and like their owners keep them like they're their children, right? So
they are though.
Well, so's my Goldwing.
Yeah,
but
they're
I think that's what's great about, at least the people who Fletch knows and I know is, if you look in this room, we have just in this chat, we have 3 people own a Harley, but we got people who own Spiders, we have people who own Goldwings, and you say like those Harleys were gorgeous. Well, to me, I actually like the Vulcan. I think it looks good. When I see a Goldwing out there and it's all done up,
they're
right,
faster than the Harley too. So
no, for sure.
Well,
yeah, it's been proven. I actually witnessed it.
Most everything is faster than Harley.
Faster than Harley. But I think to even though I made that statement, the truth of the matter is it boils down to, again, based on our topic, right, about stuff that you can do to the bike, the modifications, and stuff like that. So if you don't take care of your bike, right, because why do you have leaks, or you finally find out a leak when after a long ride, or why does your exhaust come flying out? It's simply because you don't take the time to do a walk around and do checks, the basic stuff. I don't expect you, if you don't know how to do an oil change, don't do an oil change, fine, right? But at least know enough well to check the nuts and bolts, make sure it's all tightened up, right? Do a once around, wash your bike, of course, at least once a week or once a month or once a year in my case, right? And walk around, and if you see a little bit of oil on the ground where there wasn't one, go check it, right? And that's the reason why people at the end of the ride, then they start leaking like hell or lose an exhaust or lose a part, simply because they don't check, right?
Yeah. So, and if the instructions say to use Loctite, use Loctite.
Exactly.
But just use blue.
Good to know.
Yeah,
just
don't
use
go red.
the blue. Don't go red.
Good to know. Okay, good to know.
You'll be cussing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blues get,
So
someday you might want to get it off again. So
my husband has said that before, so he knows that.
All right. Yeah. So imagine you're riding this motorcycle, and you look down at your air cleaner, and you literally see it rotating as it's literally unscrewing itself. So you're riding, you're reaching down, and you're tightening it back up, and then it's doing it again. Like, oh god, I gotta keep doing it.
Is this a personal experience we're talking about here?
Yeah, within the last month.
I was gonna say it's a friend.
No, it was me. So, but it's just turning like clockwork. Just so yeah, it's that bolt that's actually hidden underneath this little cover. I was like, oh, so I took it out, Loctite it. It's good now, but definitely follow the instructions if they say so.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to do a little video on on this, and I think we all should do a walk around. In fact, when I was in the Army, we had what we call a BOS, before operational service. I'm sure Miss Modotich, your husband's going to say the same, something similar as well, or it could be an American thing, because we got a lot of American tanks and stuff like that, right? So
I'll
it's
ask
before
him right
operational
now,
service,
because he's not
right?
doing anything
All right.
that I
So
know
it's-
of. He's just sitting there looking at schematics. Hold on.
Okay, so it's called a before operation service, right? So what we do is before we start the car or the bike or the tank, we'll do a walk around, check seals, check stuff, check oils, check connections and everything else. Then you start the bike. Then when you start the bike, you check the lights and the stuff like that. You know, and for cars, you lift the hood and check the oils and everything else. And I think we all should do that. And I think one of the things that if you're going to a dealership or going to any workshop or what have you, get them to do an 11-point check for you, right? Tell them that you're going on a long ride. Can you please do an 11-point check? So they will go through the whole thing of checking the functionality of the bike beyond just the visual.
I was
To
going to
make
say
sure-
T-clocks.
Yep, that's just what I brought up was the T-clock checks for motorcycles.
Which is something that we should do, especially before long rides. I'm pretty anal about that. Before I go on a super long ride, I'll just pull it in and say, listen, do a quick service, do 11-point check, right? They call it 11-point check, and go through everything.
Mhm.
Tighten what needs to be tightened. Because in my case, when you talk about pros and cons, the cons for me is that I don't have a garage, so I can't do a lot of these things, right? Unfortunately, because of ordinances, just like what Brett said in the beginning of our stream, is that sometimes because of ordinances and everything else, I can't just do it in the car park, right? So I have no choice but to take it in. So that's a con for me. I would love to be able to do it myself. I can do it myself, but I can't because of the local laws and ordinances and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think moving on to our next part of the conversation here, and we'll go around the table. We'll start Black Phoenix and kind of work our way around the room here. I want to know, since we're still kind of talking modifications, and maybe you guys don't have one. If you don't, that's fine. But what's the one modification that you've done to your bike or did to your bike and you've changed that you just absolutely regretted? It was the biggest waste of money. What have you been burned on? Not to put you on the spot, but
Hmm.
I wouldn't really say nothing yet. I haven't been burned on anything. Although I'm the guy who researches stuff for like weeks before I even consider buying it.
not me.
Like
Unfortunately,
I had a Subaru years ago, and it took me 6 months to buy an exhaust for it because I was just looking at each brand, what kind of metal it was made out of, all that type of stuff.
1,000 YouTube videos later.
Yep, sound clips, all that stuff. So,
Okay.
but so far so good with the Spider.
Good.
Okay.
And Jarvis, what about you?
Not any bad upgrades, I can say. Taper bearings in the steering head, like one of the major upgrades for a motorcycle. What else did I do? Oh, the seat. I put an ultimate seat on it, and that just lengthened our ride time. It almost tripled it, and we were having a little bit of trouble with the wife. Her legs were getting sore, so there's a video on my channel where we CNC machined some billet aluminum plates to raise her feet up.
Right.
So they're up 3.5 inches higher than the wife's a tiny lady. So what it was doing was the seat was a little thicker than the stock, and she actually was putting her feet flat on the pads, but it was actually fulcruming her thigh bone on the seat, and it was lifting up on her hip joints. And she was like my hips are just killing me. So we did that, and that allowed her to move in. She can tuck her knees in right by my kidneys on the seat, and we did 4.5 hours to Port Carling 2 weeks ago, and we got off, threw the bags in the hotel room, jumped back on, and we did another 2.5 hour ride over to Gravenhurst and back. So, it was a really good thing that we did do all that, and it improved everything on it. Tires, a lot of the Goldwing guys, they do the dark side. They put a car tire on the back.
Sure.
They get a lot more mileage out of it, but some guys complain about the handling, right? So I'm not interested in that. I did put what they call double dark side. They put a BT45 rear tire on the front of the Goldwing.
Oh, Bridgestone.
Right. Because it has the harder compound on the dead center of the tire.
Was it a BT45?
BT45.
Okay.
So the rubber in the center is meant to wear better because it's a rear tire, right? So on the front, it lasts forever. So I did do that, and it's a little bit wider, and I noticed that when I tilt into a corner, it actually pulls the bike in. Where sometimes you want to understeer and pull you away, like it steers you away. It took care of that with the Goldwing, and that's one of the problems with the Goldwing. They're a little loosey-goosey in the front end, so those upgrades that I did to the front end were like, I haven't done anything that I didn't like so far.
Cool. If I remember correctly, the BT45s are wet and dry, right?
Yeah.
The wet and dry tires, right?
Yeah, and they're a bias ply. They're not a radial, and that's the Goldwing has radials on it. But I noticed an improvement, and you put it on the line in a corner, it stays there. It doesn't go anywhere. So it was an improvement just doing that. So
cool. That's safety. That's good, man.
Yeah.
And Miss Motorteach, what about yourself? Any modifications here that gave you a big headache or you're proud of?
The only two things I put on a Dira is a sissy bar and a fairing. I regret putting them on late at night in a hot garage.
Beer sport.
Yeah. Well, it's because somebody is used to their late shift, so they're like raring to go, and I'm like falling asleep on the couch, and they're like, let's go do it now. And I was like, it's 11:30. I've been up since 6. Now is when you want to do it, not before when you got home. No, let's do it now. And then can't get a clamp on it because I want to do it myself because I want to feel confident in that area. But so far, no regrets.
Good.
Those are those small cosmetic things. The next thing I really want to get is a saddlebag, and I want to try and get one before I go. So I don't, I also don't want to get a really expensive one, but I want a hard bag. But the fairing has been great. I think the only regret is that I didn't get it sooner, and that it makes me go faster than I realized because now I don't have that resistance.
Yep.
So it's not. I was going down the HOV lane, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. Oh shoot, triple digits. All right, go down.
That's why Jarvis is always cruising at 120 in the Goldwing because everything just moves around him.
Yes.
120. That's kilometers per hour for anyone watching. 120
just so you know, my bike's in miles per hour.
Yeah.
Well, I have to learn that, don't I? Oh gosh.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I do have to say, once I put the larger windscreen on the Spider, it made a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
Especially on longer trips.
Yeah.
But
I take a lot of the fatigue out,
right?
Yeah.
Like the Goldwings, it'll come right up, and you can get actually ones that are extended 4 to 6 inches, and it takes that buffeting off your body. You can go a lot farther if you protect yourself a little bit.
Yeah. I'm actually I'm going on my first considerably long journey on Sunday. We're going to be going up to Sedona, and then we're going to take kind of the back road back through Jerome, which is, I drove there on my car once. It's very windy, so I think it's actually good practice for where I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all on the side of, it's I think it's 150 miles one way.
Oh, that's an afternoon for us.
Listen, all right, I'm new. But it's also on the side of the mountain, so I'll just try not to look over the edge and just be like, I'm just not gonna look.
Don't go sightseeing.
Yeah, no, I already did that in the car. Was the passenger? I'm good. But I know that my husband has planned out the stages for my bike already for me, and like what we should do next, because he talks to somebody at work who has a Dyna who rides up, and I finally met him one day. He's like, "Oh, you must be Baron's wife." I was like, because I was standing right by my bike, because I was a nice wife and I brought food on my bike. And then or actually not food, Mountain Dew was requested. That's what I brought. And he's like, "Oh yeah, we've been talking about, this and this," and he's talking to me like I know what he's talking about. I know I had these plans. So
was it the grenade ring? Was that what he was talking about?
No, that's not my bike. But I have actually asked my husband, because he's been taking my bike to work and stuff. And he told me the other day, he's like, "Yeah, no, people keep stopping me and saying like, 'What a nice bike.'" And I said, "And what do you say?" He's like, "It's my wife's bike." I was like, he's like, "I could get away with it." I was like, "I know you can't, but you know what? I'll trust the fact that that's what you say." But yeah, no, like the stages I think are kind of what's next after this point. I still don't know what that means, but I kind of know what that means. I've seen the diagrams whenever we go to a dealership, so yeah, I mean that's the thing. I know with me it's just I'd like to learn more about it. It's not my expertise because I haven't I built sets for theater stuff, but I haven't, I wasn't ever around cars or anything like that. So my knowledge base is, you give a 2-year-old a wrench and I'm just going to act the same way. Be like, do I hit it?
Because Jeremy Clarkson, yes.
I mean, it's funny though, because also like when I one time I saw my husband at work and they were catching a jet, meaning that they were coming. If you didn't know, my husband's in the Air Force. You can figure that out. But it was funny because the one time they came in and one of the fuel pods wasn't reading, like the pilot came out, and I'm standing there with the headphones and I'm just like, "This is cool. There's a jet right there. There's the pilot." And he goes over and there's like trying to figure out the fuel pod. And I'll never forget this because it's like first time, these jets are expensive, $48 million a jet and all that. He takes the chalk blocks and starts hitting it. And I was just like, that's
what I said. You got to have the proper tool.
Yeah. And what he told me was just like, yeah, banging it lets us know if the sensor, but it was just very funny because he talks to me about all the technical stuff because he's in the avionics, so he does all the wiring. And the first time I see him at work, he's just banging it like I hit my computer or something. Like it was very funny.
He just went old school in a son of a bitch, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was very funny. But I know, I'm going to be doing a lot of YouTube. I know the one thing that somebody told me to get when we go over is gaskets because they're cheap here. But if I go overseas or something, because they said that's what's like the first thing to go or something like that. I don't know. There's been so many people telling me so many different things, but they don't also realize that if I don't write it down, I'm not going to remember anything.
I mean, okay, to me, for everything about the Harley Davidson, it's about the Harley tax, right? So I think what they're trying to do is not so much that it's going to go out, it's just save you money.
Yeah.
But the chances of your gasket blowing on a 107 is close to zero unless you have a spot out. But you definitely have to get some for the Sportster.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to a temperate country. I'm not sure from where you are what the temperature ranges are like.
It's by Venice.
Right. What I'm saying is that where you are now in the States, the variance in terms of winter and summer, the temperatures right, may not be as bad as where you're going to be in Sedona. It could be a little bit more extreme.
Mhm.
So when it comes to pressure and everything else on the Sportster, if you run it hard, chances are you may blow the gasket, and it's cheaper to have spares for that. But for the 107s on your street, Bob, no, I don't think you need to. Good to have, but I don't think you need to buy it. They don't have that problem on that particular engine. It's more a Sportster thing.
Well, I'm glad this is, being recorded, because then I'll just, hey, husband, watch this little bit right here. Go to 111. Go there.
All right.
Oh, he got back to me, by the way. There's no fancy term he has.
All right.
He goes inspections, exceptional release, and walkarounds. And I said, is there any fancy acronyms? He goes, nah. He's like, what is this for?
It's an Army thing. Sorry, man. It's an Army
Oh, you're
thing.
good.
That's Air Force.
Yeah.
They just hit jets. That's all.
Yeah. Well, they just hit jets and just live in their 5-star hotels.
I got a question for Jarvis. Since I was just on his page and I saw his banner, what's it like pulling that little trailer behind you? Do you notice that thing or not?
No, not at
Really?
all. I don't carry a lot of weight. Other than the wife's makeup bag. That's the only thing that really has any weight to it. But it's very low. It's streamlined. Maybe close to 100 pounds in it when we go on a long trip. Where I know some of these other guys that got the gold wings, like Caliente and those guys, they got spare tires and they got jacks and they got tools and that. I usually keep the tools in the lower bags on the bike and just load the trailer up with like clothes and duffel bags and spare helmet and stuff like that. So it's spare shoes and boots and rain suits and that kind of thing. Keep the weight off the bike. We used to run without the trailer and the wind was a problem because we go quite a bit down to New Hampshire. So right across New York State, it's pretty wide open. It's any little wind at all, it'll knock you around pretty hard. So we went to the trailer and I took everything out of the top box of the bike except baseball hat and a jacket, and that was about it. And no problem at all. Rode right across it. So that's cool. You do not know it's there until you hear it bounce when you hit a pothole or something. I paid $400 for that thing.
That's not bad at all.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Well, they're like to get her like a Bushnell or a Can-Am, they're like $4,000.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Canadian, so that's like $25 US. But.
I mean, dude, that's cheaper than a set of saddlebags here in the States, man.
Yeah, that is.
Well, I got my education on bags and beer boxes for Harleys on my trip because we saw other Harleys there, and I saw that one. It's like this thick, a beer box on the back, and I was like, "Was that custom?" And they go, "No, that's the number one." And then you go to the next one, and then you go to and then there's the big one. And I said, "Well, how much does that damn thing cost?" I forget what they told me, but it was like a considerable amount of money for something that you'd have to lay the beer down flat in cans to get it all in. It was that small.
The one saddlebag that I'm like, if I really need to, because I want to get one before I go, that's I know if I go to the Harley dealership, $845.
Yeah.
Have you looked into Viking yet?
Yes, I have, and that's probably. I also I watch her two wheels, and she has a discount code. I'm okay doing that. I'm okay. I mean, I'd like to have one of my own one day, but we have to get there.
What, discount code or saddlebags? Yeah.
Well, saddlebags too. Yeah. I mean, that'd be great if it was like, here, you can have these to review.
I'm pretty sure us as a collective whole is about 5% of what she made in a year as far as subscribers. So,
and, like all of a sudden too.
Didn't she make like 20,000 in one week or day? Or
It was like when she went moto camping.
Yep.
Yeah.
Blew
That
up.
was like her, and she was in
Yeah.
there. It was awesome.
Yeah, if I was to go solo motor camping, no one would want to watch
No
that. Like, who's this fat guy walking around in his boxer shorts and a hoodie in the middle of a campground? Like, it's me.
I know, and some people think too, because they're like, oh, you have a channel, you must have a lot of people, because I'm of the Famali
You're a
gender.
girl. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, no, a bunch of guys, they're pretty cool.
I had a
I
person.
learned a lot from them.
I had a person recognize me, and I just got like 83 now. And I think it was back about the time I had about 50 subs, and somebody recognized me in Port Dover. Hey, you're that Goldwing guy, and I was like,
Really?
yeah.
Nice.
I was all big chest sticking out. I was all happy.
I saw Black Phoenix was handing out spam cards, so he's getting recognized up there. So
Yeah.
I actually got a video coming out Sunday of someone coming up to me at a gas station, so
Nice.
recognizing
Cool.
me. So
What are you at now for subs?
closing in on 550, I think, around like
Ooh.
hovering around 549. So
You're a star.
yeah, YouTube's a weird thing. It'll go down 3, up 5, down 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've been at 343 for who knows how long. So
I lost
stop you looking.
I lost a few because I scolded people about what they were putting on Facebook back when the C thing started. All the Chinese walks with stuff in it, and I just deleted them off my Facebook. I was like, I don't want to see that crap, and I did a little blurb of it in one of my videos, and away they went. I was like, okay, see you later.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I don't need it.
So I have a random-ish question, but it relates to our topic, I think.
Okay.
So I need to get a kit, like to have on my bike. What do you recommend?
What
Like-
type?
Like a toolkit?
Yeah, what sort of kit?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
I'll
Oh.
see if I can find what I have. But y'all,
Well, I mean-
talk about yourself for a few. Hey, Anonymous, how you doing, buddy?
Does our Harley have like self-made kits? Because my Spider
Yeah, they
came
do.
with a K&M kit with all the tools and everything already in it.
Here's my bug bones about that, though. Every Japanese bike that I bought, right, we will have the basic kit for sure, right?
Yep.
But Harley Davidson, you have to buy it. But I think it's good to be able to buy it because you have certain tools that they have to be able to get to certain parts anyway.
Mhm.
It's not to
Yeah,
say that for sure they all will fit. Otherwise you would have to go to your DIY store and have to look for the right parts and then get your service manual to see which wrench is for which part and blah 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 blah. But at least the basic stuff you can get it from Harley Davidson. Again, you pay the Harley tax. But I think if you go on to Revzilla or you go on to Dennis Kirk or JP Cycles, they should have stuff like this, right? Which is and this is
Right.
Amazon, right?
Oh, I'm a Prime member. They'll get here
yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, but I think the good thing about people like
By
in
drone.
JP's, right? JP's is that they would definitely be able to get tools specific to your model as well, and you can go on the chat. They have a live chat that you can go on and then check with them. What's the best thing? What you recommend? And not gonna get ask you to get the most expensive. They know well enough that you say, okay, you got a budget. What can you afford? They will definitely tell you which is the one to go for.
$5.
Right. So
Yeah.
$5.
No,
So
get the good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
The day that the air cleaner was spinning, I did not have my toolkit with me.
They put a
So
rubber
you-
band.
So you stuck your knee up against it and kept riding, didn't you?
I actually did. I did.
Yeah.
I had about 20 miles left when I noticed it, and at that point, it was already. I mean, I got it hand tight pretty good on the way back home.
I mean, I know with the ride I'm going on Sunday, I'm riding with the Litas. So, and I also know the person I'm going with. She has a Harley and she has a kit, so I know I'll be okay.
Mine, I've got everything. I got like tire plug repair.
Yep,
I got a wrench to undo pretty well everything. I even carry a torque wrench for the back wheel if I have a flat, and I got to take it off. No, it's on the bike actually. It's right in the back, and that's just because you need a breaker bar to get them off. They're 80 foot-pounds torque on those things, so you need that wrench just to get it off. And a small little diaphragm compressor. I got that in the saddlebag as well. I'm, unless it's like a tree stick the size of your finger, I can fix a flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what Jarvis was saying is pretty the most important thing anyway. Besides the wrenches and everything else, they're not going to help you on a flat tire, right? So they do have the kits with the compressors and everything else, with the tire repair worms. We call them worms, right? They can stick into the holes and everything else. Another good thing to have is jumper cables and maybe something to charge your battery, because those are the things that you really need more than anything else.
I got a jump pack.
The jump pack.
Yep.
I bought one at Royal Distributing here in Guelph, and my stepson, we were together, and we both bought one, $35. And I thought, okay. So one night, right before the trip, I left the key on the bike. And I come out in the morning getting ready to go, and it was dead. And I was like, oh no. I thought, well, here we're going to find out, right? Pulled it out, hooked it on, fired up the Goldwing. Wow. I went over to the coffee shop at Tim Hortons in town to get a coffee for the wife before I left. And there was a guy there with a Honda minivan. Couldn't get it started. And I said, hey, just a minute. I walked over, got it, put it on. So it fired a full-size minivan V6 up. So I'm like,
that's awesome.
That's the best $35 I'll ever spend.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're worth it.
Yep. You need that more than anything else, I think.
I should do a video on it, because there was another guy there had one, and he tried it, and his wouldn't do it. But mine did it. Wow. Mine would start it.
No, I think you should. People, it's good to know. I mean, these are the things that are generic, but I think we should have, especially on a long trip, because you're going to have a flat tire, you're going to have a flat battery. At least have these things, And first aid kit.
They got a flashlight on them. They got charging ports for your phone, and I think you could even probably run like a small laptop off of it too. Wow! Like they're pretty cool thing.
And I don't know about you guys, but for my long trip, I had to bring a quart of oil with me because the spider just burns it.
Oh yeah, really?
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
Why?
It's just the nature of the motor.
Really?
Yeah, those 998 Rotaxes just for whatever reason just eats it.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because then for Miss Motor Teach, the Street Bob is a smaller tank, and for whatever funny reason, it also seems to drink the petrol and take gas, really well fast and stuff like that. So I think if you're really on a long trip and you're not too sure about where's the next gas station, bring a 2-gallon or a gallon tank is good enough, I think. Because I've had friends.
Have a place to put it.
Well, they've got those ones, and they look like a little flat.
Yeah.
They're both like that, and they're about this thick, and they don't even have gasoline. It's some other stuff in it. It's actually very safe to travel with it. Like if you got rear-ended or something on the bike, it wouldn't explode and burn you up. But it'll actually, you can pour it in, the engine will run on it to get you.
Okay. Yeah.
Look it up. It's I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but
so look it up off of
the yeah, you just look up
gas-free gas.
No, it's like rescue gas or something like that.
Okay, I'll look it up right now.
Rescue gas, yeah. So because the reason why I mentioned that is
my millennial skills to the test.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I mentioned that is because I have a friend who has the new Street Bob, and I find it very funny that it has, even though a larger capacity than a Sportster, it will still run out of gas at the same stage as a Sportster. So that thing that's really bad. So I think there's something to think about that you really need to have.
Yeah, no, I think the most, before I got it, it was close to 150 before I was empty.
Which
so I did, yeah. Which, I mean, it also depends too. I mean, if my husband rides my bike, it eats gas because somebody likes to go fast. But he then complains because they're all mid controls, and he's 6 foot, so he's like hunched. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I'm vertically challenged. Blame my genetics. But yeah, so
yeah. So going back to topic, right? So going back to topic, Black Phoenix, what's your favorite modification?
Oh, it's got to be the Power Commander on that. Really woke the Spider up, especially as because I have the RS model, so it's the sports model of the Spider. So really,
right.
I almost feel like it should have come like that. It should have come with like a little bit more power to, marketing, for Can-Am, but whatever.
Now, is the fact that it probably didn't come that way for probably emission purposes? You think they had a?
It's definitely detuned because those same motors go in other bikes with a lot more power in them.
So where's that made? Is it Canadian?
Yeah, they're Canadian. Yeah, BRP I think is the parent company for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
sorry.
No, I was gonna ask because I looked up the fuel thing. Is it Magic Tank?
Oh, it could be.
I found one called Extra Fuel.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, so I was going to say, Black Phoenix, what sort of when you put in the Power Commander, did it not just increase the horsepower? What else did it do?
I think if I'm not on the throttle, I actually got a little bit better gas mileage out of it. It's just a little bit more efficient. But on the same token, when I am on the throttle, it's dumping the fuel for the more power. So you kind of, it's a trade-off. So.
Well, that's the thing.
But I got about 100 on my trip. I got about 160 miles on a tank. It's about a 6.6 gallon tank.
Wow.
So.
Whoa. Okay, you must be
I was
down the road.
I was moving pretty good, and then I kind of slowed down, so I got that extra miles at the end. So I'm like, I got 2 bars left. I should probably go the speed limit.
Yeah.
6.6 gallons. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm thinking if I, cruise, I can probably get closer to 180. Maybe that might be pushing it. I don't know, but maybe 200 would be pushing it.
Right.
Boots and Jeans, Matt.
Hey, Boots and Jeans.
Welcome, guys. They are on quite the journey, those two are.
Oh, so wow.
They're in Illinois.
Yeah, they're all over. If they're stopping in Kansas City-ish area, you're not too far away.
Jealous, God damn it.
We'll be out riding tomorrow. Feel free to come on by. But
it's still so hot by us. Like, it was 105 today.
Oh,
it's freezing here. We got frost warning.
I got a hoodie on.
The only reason I have a hoodie on is just, the Arctic in here.
I was going to pull the seat and get the hot wired cable out from under it for the winter.
Yeah.
It's time to put the heated suit up, baby.
I just looked out the window.
Magic Tank. That's what that thing.
Magic Tank
was. Yeah.
Okay. Woohoo! My skills came in handy.
Yep.
I'm good for something today.
So Jarvis, what's the modification that you're the most proud of?
Oh, Concord. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the shaft drive on the Kawasaki's, but they have a 6303 bearing. Mm-hmm. It's on the Vulcans, it's on the Concord, any of the big shaft drives, and it's like a big, there's like a big black dot right about where the pivot arm for the swing arm would be, but it's right on the side of the engine.
Okay.
On the shifter side, and I was riding along one day, and I had the tank bag on, and I took the tank bag off, and I started riding. I could hear this noise, and it was the bearing failing. So I tore the whole bike apart right up to there and changed that bearing. It was that that one I was a little scared of, but it turned out all right.
Man, this guy.
Okay.
Damn it.
Oh, God. Oh. So, Miss Moto Teach, you've done 2 things to your bike. Which you like better, the fairing or the sissy bar?
Fairing, even though it almost caused a divorce of a marriage that just started. we just learned stuff about each other that day.
It's the cafe fairing, correct?
Yeah, so it's for Memphis shades, and the cool thing is because of the latch feature, so I can take it off. So like I just pop it off. So if I really am not going anywhere and I don't need it, but it looks so much cooler and it's on.
Should I show her what I did last week? Remember the picture I showed everybody?
Yeah.
It's Memphis Shades related, so it's on topic.
Okay, yeah. So I like the fact that, like, you know, because now the other thing too is if I want to get the larger one, so if I really do start going like on a long journey, or if I know that A, it's going to cost less, and B, I just pop it right on. I'll be okay. That'll be cool.
Yeah, they should fit.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, let's see if I can get this bad boy in focus here. Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Batwing. Yeah. Batman. Yeah.
There it is.
So I had it sitting in my garage forever. And it's like I have the clamps for the cafe, which is, like I said, on and off, on off. All you got to do is adjust the clamps all the way to the forward position, and that thing popped right in. It's like, sweet. Yeah. I'm never going to ride with it. It looks hideous as all get out. But if I really wanted to, I could.
Yeah.
If we're talking about regrets, that's my regret purchase, is buying that thing, because I bought it as a means of flipping, and no one wants it. So
yeah,
not the $200 some it originally cost me, but that's all right. So
good to know.
That cafe fairing is really nice, because I like the Road Warrior, but it did not work for me no matter what windshield I ended up going with. So I found with me being taller that the shorter fairings actually work better for me. So
and the short fairings on me are just like tall ones.
Oh yeah, they're going
like here, and then that's when my helmet takes over.
Awesome. Oh man, let out Fletch, just laugh.
No, I'm just trying to log into my shit here.
Yeah, I know. I have to go soon. I have to grade, even though I don't have to. I'm not getting paid to do it right now. But if I do it now,
oh, you won't be their teacher in a few months anyway. Just give them A's.
They don't know that. Oh no, it's not A's anymore. It's what is it now? Highly proficient, partially proficient, and DL, which stands for distance learning. So we can't fail them at all. So if a kid doesn't do anything, they're graded as they did something little. But that we don't have to get into that right now.
Okay.
Not at all. If anything, I've been planning, like, one of the things I just actually filmed today so I could post on my channel being like, I'm alive, I'm still here. I'm thinking about hosting a live stream of my own, which is a little scary. But
go for it.
Yeah, but one where I'm like, okay, what do you want to know? You want to really know how I feel about this entire, situation on my end? Do you truly want to know about it? Do you want to know if I wear pants during the day? I do. Because we have our breaks, so I have to model, like, get up from your screen. I do like push-ups. Actually, no, I did that for like the first week and then I was done. I get up and just like go to the couch.
Awesome.
D stands for diploma. Yeah. Their 8th grade one. Yo, hey there.
I had caffeine, I told you. Yeah, I'm still a little bit hyper.
A little hyped.
Well, Mr. Fletch stepped out for a quick moment here, and we got one last piece of this kind of topic. So we kind of already know, Black Phoenix, you like to go faster on yours because, why not, right? But Jarvis, have you done anything to your bikes that would get you there quicker, or are you just more ride it as it was made and just upgrade and take care of it type of person?
I'm pretty much the way it came out of the crate. That's the way I like to keep them. I don't tires and stuff like that. I'll mess with a little bit, but just upkeep and parts, fresh parts and stuff. That's all I want to do. Nice. I saw too many other guys that, there was grief by doing some upgrades, and it just cost them money and stuff. And I never really got into it. Even with my cars, I never really switched them up. I'd buy it like if I wanted it and just keep it that way.
Well, that's one of the things that Fletch and I were kind of discussing throughout the week here this week. We have so me and him, we both have the twin cam motor. He has a 103 version. I have a 96 version. But you get all these people who Harley does this thing with stage 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, different upgrades for different things. Mm-hmm. And, kind of like I used to do in the car world, the more you start doing to it, the more chances it has of a failed part. So I feel like, usually what comes from the factory should be, not necessarily is, but it should be some of the strongest parts that are available. But when you start kind of tinkering around, you're changing out the cam for, a torquier cam, I feel like that just puts stress on the rest of the bike. So unless you actually continue on down, you do swing arm, you do suspension, that extra torque cam, if you don't do that stuff, is going to ruin something else on your bike.
Yeah, that's basically, you'd see that in car engines too. You could get them so far, and then you were just hurting them, when you were running them. So
yeah, I'm actually running into that problem with my car right now. I got a Turbo Sonic, and I've pretty much doubled the boost on it with a tune. And now it's breaking up at the higher RPMs, so I got to do a whole tune-up and upgrade the ignition and all that stuff now.
Young fella at work, he's got a Jetta, and he got her all tuned up and turboed. And I said, "Don't do it. You're going to regret it." First thing was the clutch went, and it just progresses down. And the drive links and the front suspension, they started to go. It was just.
Oh yeah, I had a Focus ST, which is the.
Those are nice.
It's not the RS model, so it's not the all-wheel drive thing. So it's front-wheel drive, and so you came from the factory with like 250-ish, and then you get the tune, you get about to just shy of 300. Those cars aren't meant to have 300 horsepower going to a front-wheel drive car. It torques the crap out of them, and it just torque steers you, and it's just it's terrible. And it's like I kept doing it, so now I don't modify cars anymore. That's for sure, because I'm like, all right, I'm done with that. So I did modify my SUV. It's
I have a problem. So I've had over like 16 cars, and every single one of them I've dumped money into. I probably could have a few houses by now at this point.
Yeah. I can have more motorcycles. Sure.
Me too, but I got an ex-wife, so I only got one.
I know what you mean. I mean, I think more so for Harleys than for any other bike. I know you're talking about cars, but I think I put in easily about $4,000 to $5,000 on my bike alone. Right, that's crazy, man.
I don't want to run my totals. It'd be.
I'm getting scared now.
It's so sad. It's before you even take it off the showroom, right? I've already like clocked about 2,000 on it for just the basic stuff as well, you know. And for us Harley Davidson guys, it's always about the exhaust first, right? So that's going to cost you a bit.
Yep.
Right?
800 on
and
the
then
cheap.
right, then there's the bars and everything else.
Yeah, your exhausts are expensive on those things.
No.
They are, and more so
right.
here, and because we have to follow Euro 3 minimum, right, for emissions. So then we only stuck with a couple of brands only that we're allowed to have, and because they know they're legal, they really jack the prices up. You know, I went online and saw what mine's a Remus, and when I went online, it costs like $200 or $300 US. I paid $1,000.
Oh wow!
Ooh.
For it here.
So
That's crazy.
will I have to change my exhaust before I go over?
You don't.
No.
Not,
It's already Euro 4.
Okay.
Your Street Bob's brand new. I know it fits Euro 4. So I think when you go over there and decide to change your exhaust, you need to check what the regulations are and what you can put on. You can't just put on a Vans and Hines. You need to put on Vans and Hines that meets their requirements. Otherwise, you can't put it on the road.
Put some pavement pounders down there. That'd be great. That's what it really needs. Is some pavement pounders shaking those cobblestones loose.
I know. I've gone through 3 cars in my life so far. 4. One actually, the timing belt broke while I was in the fast lane. That was fun. Like immediate loss of power, and I'm like, shit. What did I do? Pull over. And it's like getting the phone call was like getting that like horrible, like it's your timing belt. It's like, it's dead. Man. She's dead. Goldie's dead. Because it was a gold CRV. Because I'm so creative with names. My first one was a Subaru Legacy. It had a CD player and a tape cassette player.
Nice.
And a sunroof. And that was in high school. Heck yeah. It was great. All the boys were not flocking to me. No, not at all. They actually flocked. It was very funny. One time my grandmother pulled up. She had a Lincoln, and they called them Zephyrs. They're MKZs now. Mm-hmm. Right. And I remember
the old ones.
Yeah, she was pulling up because I was going to my car because I had to go to swim practice, and she pulled up to pick up my brother, and I was standing behind some 2 people I knew, and they're like, "Oh, look at that car, man! I'd be lucky to be that," and I'd be like, "That's my grandma." And then, but because it was pretty much when I got my first car, I was very lucky. Semi-lucky that my grandmother had 2 cars because after my grandfather passed away, the red car was actually hers and the MKZ was my grandfather's. And she's like, "Oh, I couldn't part with my little red Subaru," and I'm like, "I'll take the Zephyr. It had the navigation system in it, which like back then was like a new thing, and I was like, I could take that." She's like, "No." Like, dang it. But I mean, I know with riding a motorcycle, my dad tried to teach me stick one time, and I got stuck on a hill, and I never touched it again. But riding a motorcycle, my husband had a 4Runner he had to sell, but it was stick shift, and he tried to teach me, and it just something. There was a block, but then riding the motorcycle. It was like Helen Keller moment, like, oh, this is what this is. I get this now. When it gets to this RPM, you shift. What? And now I'm like, I actually would prefer like my cars in the future to be a standard.
Stick drive.
Yeah.
Right.
Because A, it's a little cheaper. And B, it'll be actually a whole lot harder to steal the car.
Yeah. There's actually a picture.
How to drive it, right?
My security device, and it's just a picture of their stick shift.
Yep. Yep. So exactly. I'm all for that, and I know my husband, when he finally does watch this, I don't know if he'll watch up to this point, but
he's required.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna make him now.
I need watch time.
Yeah, because what's his car? Oh gosh, he wants to get one of is it Toyota? It's something where like begins with an M, but he wants to build it up.
MR2.
Yeah.
MR2.
Yes. You know what? Hold on. He's not busy. Let me text him.
But yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Most of my cars were all stick shifts, and now all my stuff is semi-auto. So there you go.
Yeah, but he wants to. You know, it's always a project car. Always.
Right.
Always. I'll buy the solid, like ready to go car. He'll have the project car.
Once I had kids, I got rid of the stick shift cars only because they're too small. You can't find too many SUVs in a stick shift. So
I got a
there's another reason not to have kids.
Another reason not. Yeah, there you go.
When I don't know how well you guys know cars, but when my son was born, I convinced my wife that I needed a Dodge Neon SRT4 because it was 4 doors. That's a 260 horsepower 5-speed front wheel drive car.
Yep.
But it had power trunk, so it's easy to put the baby stuff in.
There you go.
He did fall asleep in it though. He would. Like I would take him on the highway and he would fall asleep. I'm like, see, it was a great
They were
purchase.
good little cars. They were good cars.
They were. The only problem I had with that is it broke all the time.
American
Sister-in-law had one. She broke it on a tree.
I'll break it.
Wait, what?
Tornadoes.
Big crash.
Twister. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I backed mine up into a tree one time when I was parallel parking.
My ex-wife backed over my GPZ 750 in the driveway.
No.
Backed right up on my truck. Back wheel of my truck was right up on it.
Oh no! I would.
She said that it fell over. She came in and told me it fell over. I said, "Where were you going?" She said, "Oh, we're going for ice cream." I said, "Go for a long time."
All right, guys. Well, kind of made it through the topics this week. I know I personally have had quite the long week here. So instead of just going the typical 3 hours, we're going to go ahead and go to bed early. I got a ride coming up tomorrow. I'm not sure how long it is, but my dad, my wife, and myself are all going on a ride. So I want to get some beauty sleep before then. So, so with that, I do want to thank Jarvis, Black Venus, and Miss Teach for joining us here tonight. And as always,
thank you for coming.
I am Chopper Fett, and that guy over there is.
I'm Fletch Diner. You can call me Fletch. And next week we'll be having another topic. Hopefully I can get someone on as well. And you can join me on my channel. Thank you very much again for all the people in the side chat for joining us. And of course, the three of you, Jarvis, Black Phoenix, and Miss Teach. Thank you very much for coming. Same time, same place next week.
Different place. Not the same
different
place. Different place.
Oh no, different place. Different place.
New bat channel. New bat channel. All right. Take care, everybody.
All right. Have a good one.